Hello everyone, this is the fourth and final video of my Game Boy collection that I had as a kid. The next game in our list, we'll go right to it, is by LJN. Now, this is a LJN we've talked about earlier. I like the Spider-Man game that they made. I wasn't a huge fan of the NBA All-Star Challenge games. And LJN as a company, I never really played a lot of their games because I didn't have a Nintendo or Super Nintendo, but Maximum Carnage, for example, for the Genesis, that was awesome. That was a great LJN game that was made. This next game is a sports game. Now, I remember playing it. I couldn't wait to buy it. It was used at Funko Land. I think I got the box and game together. And I remember playing the season mode of this game and was disappointed almost felt cheated that it started you out in the middle of the season, like in the pennant race, if you will. It's a baseball game from LJN, and I wasn't too happy about that. I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. Why can't I play a regular 162-game season? The Frank Thomas Bickert Baseball let you do that. So I picked it up, and, it's not a bad game for what it is. It really isn't. But and here it is in all its glory. And so we'll get the riddle out of the way. It's Roger Clemens MVP Baseball. This also is out for the Nintendo, and I think it also came out for the Genesis as well, if I recall, along with the Super Nintendo. And the Nintendo's the same thing as the Super Nintendo, as the Game Boy, at least. I don't know about Genesis or Super Nintendo, but it starts you out in the middle of a pennant race. It starts you out in mid-August. Which I was not really a fan of. But here it says, feel the heat. Three-time Cy Young Award winner Roger the Rocket Clemens brings home the best in Game Boy baseball. Realistic over-the-shoulder fielding, full-season league play, which is not correct. Strategy tips from Clemens himself, and incredible two-player head-to-head action with game like the Rockets on the mound and you're up. So league play, all the excitement of a pennant race. And it shows September, but you really literally start off mid-August. So you're playing 45 games. You're not playing a whole season. Here, strategy and tips from Rocket himself. That was kind of cool. Like here it says, use your relievers wisely. Remember, lefties are usually more successful against left-handed batters, as are righties against right-handed batters. Then you got over-the-shoulder fielding, the most realistic perspective ever. And close-up plays at the base. Players control the slide and tag. So, and then feel the heat with the best in Game Boy Baseball. So I liked the game. It was cool. But starting off in the middle of the season, in a pennant race was not cool. So a game by itself is actually not a bad baseball game. It could have been a lot worse. But when you factor in the fact that it's misrepresenting on the back of this box when it says full season mode, which is not correct, I was disappointed with that. Next game is from Nintendo. It's a shooter. It's a pretty cool shooter. I liked it a lot when I played it. Pick it up, guys. It's cheap. It's called Solar Striker. Lasers, phasers, photon rockets, alien attackers in a distant starfield. Solar Striker. And on the back, real basic. Protect the galaxy, defend the universe, Solar Striker. You're locked in ferocious. It's almost like better pizza, better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. You are locked in ferocious combat on an interstellar battlefield. Dodging and taking aim, alien rocket ships stream past, circle, and attack. There are too many to count. Fire, fire, fire. The enemy's first wave is repelled. A moment's rest and the attack begins again. Gather extra life and firepower from floating energy cells. Prepare to duel Batwing fighters and insect spaceships. Avoid churning energy fields, alien cruisers, and more. The battlefield is space. An alien armada approaches. Only one lone small ship standing in their way. Solar Striker. And here are the graphics of the game. Really cool shooter. I loved it. I'm not a huge fan of shooters. Solar Striker is a shooter that I really was a fan of. The next game my sister had, I don't know why she got it. She wasn't really a huge fan of the series. And this is a shame because this is a greatest hits version, or a player's choice version, if you will. So I'm still waiting to try to find a complete in-box regular version of the game. For the Game Boy, it wasn't a bad game. I liked it. I'm not a fan of the series as far as fighting games go. I'm a Mortal Kombat guy to the death. And Tekken, you know, I played all the Tekkens. I like them. Virtua Fighter, same thing. But Mortal Kombat to me, you're either a Mortal Kombat guy, or excuse me, Mortal Kombat fan, or you're this type of fighting game fan. It's not in between, and it's not either or it's not. It's not both. Very rarely is it both, but it's Street Fighter II. So you're either a Street Fighter fanboy, or you're a Mortal Kombat fanboy. But as you see, Player's Choice, million seller. I'm not too happy about that. But on the back, take the wildest fighting action everywhere you go. Travel the globe seeking the wildest martial arts action with the courageous and elite world warriors. Choose your champion and prepare to brawl your way through the world warrior ranks for a chance to put the hurt on M. Bison. With fierce displays of bone-crushing moves, these global contestants brawl to the very end. Rolling attacks, dragon punches, fireballs, and sonic booms devastate the competition. Can anyone survive this incredible test of martial arts annihilation? World Warrior Martial Arts Action comes to Game Boy, featuring favorite fighters with their special attacks and unique fighting styles. Super Game Boy compatible with border changes at every fighting location around the globe. 2-player simultaneous action with Game Link or Super Game Boy. 4 megs of hard-hitting action with incredible graphics and awesome special moves. Then it shows you the difference. That's the graphics on the regular Game Boy compact video game system and the graphics on the Super NES using the Super Game Boy adapter, both sold separately. Not a bad fighting game at all. Not great. Not horrible by any stretch. I'm not a huge fan of Street Fighter, so I didn't really care for it. But I remember playing as Blanca. I like Blanca in this game. But that's Street Fighter 2. The next game is the rarest game I think I own. One of the rarest, if not the rarest game I own. And it's not so much the game, it's the fact that it's complete in its box. For those of you who have watched the videos throughout, you'll know that I needed to find this one game, and then I could do this type of video and other videos that you've seen, like the game room tour and other things that I will be doing. But this game is, it's an adventure fighting, like a beat-em-up game. And it's not a bad game. It's not the fact that it's rare that it's really good. It's just it's very rare to find it in its box. I had to buy this from France. That's how rare this game is. This guy from France had 2 of them. And one he threw on eBay for $2,000. That's how rare this game is. And I talked him down to $1,200. And then he counter-offered, and I said I won't be paying more than $15. I ended up getting it for $14, and I grabbed it. Because you can't, once or twice a year, you will find this game in its box, complete. This one guy I know, a lot of the games I bought from this guy in Maryland, he actually has it sealed. He offered me $2,000 for it to be sealed, but I didn't really want to spend that much. I didn't need it sealed. I just needed it complete in box. And so, without further ado, here it is. It's Sumo Fighter. Game itself is pretty common. You can find the game $20, $15. It's rare. It's an uncommon / rare game by itself, but complete in box, forget it. It's impossible. This is a great version. It's a little rough around the edges in some areas, but if I was to bring this to get it graded, even though it's not sealed, it'd probably be up there. But appetite for adventure. Shake up your Nintendo Game Boy with foot-stomping action. Eat your way to super strength and pound everything in your path. Pick on everyone lighter than you as you make your way through 15 enemy-filled stages. Find the secret temples and take on the bonus stage challenges of thumb wrestling, arm wrestling, or traditional sumo fighting. Remember, don't forget to eat your rice. So, the game itself was fun. I didn't like the bonus stages. I thought they were a waste of time, in my opinion, and boring. On top of the fact that I really couldn't figure out, because when I bought the game, I had no instructions, I had no anything, how to even play them. But, I got the hang of it, but it was a monotonous breakup. There was no point. I mean, the action itself was great. It's also a hard game. I found it very hard. And I've watched, somebody had beaten it on hard mode. Somebody had beaten it and threw it on YouTube, so I actually watched them play it and live vicariously through them and saw the ending, and the ending's what you expect. It's pretty disappointing. But basically, you're this guy whose girlfriend gets kidnapped, and you have to defeat all sorts of crazy characters throughout the levels in Japan to win her back. And so that's the deal. So that's that. The next game, cult classic, everybody knows about it. If you don't, you've been living under a rock. It's what made Game Boy immensely popular, other than Tetris, obviously, is Super Mario Land. I remember playing this. And when I had my Game Boy, I never really had it. I borrowed it from people, and I finally got my own copy, and I finally beat it. And I remember being able to beat this left and right. I haven't played it in 20 years, so I don't know how I'll do if I threw it back in my Game Boy now and started playing it. But great game. Awesome, awesome, awesome game. Awesome music. Very, very, very good game. And it's funny because in certain circles, a lot of people weren't thrilled with the game compared to other, like the Super Mario games on Nintendo. Even Miyamoto didn't even make this. So it's very interesting. It says Mario's back for his best adventure yet, and on the back, join Mario in a world of strange creatures. Ancient ruins, giant crabs, Koopa Troopas, flying stone heads, and hungry sharks await you in this brand new world of adventure. Travel over land, in the air, and underwater. Mario runs, jumps, and bounces his way to fortune and glory on his mission to save the princess. A beautiful kingdom on ancient ruins, tempestuous waters, and brand new challenges make Super Mario Land the best ever. And the graphics. This is actually the only Mario game where Mario is that small. If you take a look at the next game we're going to look at, he's actually his normal self, size-wise. But this is the only game where he really is that small, that tiny. But great game. Loved it, loved it, loved it. This next, the sequel is Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. I was not a fan of this one. A lot of people love this game. I wasn't. It says the biggest Game Boy adventure yet. I was not a fan of this game. Because to me it was not Mario. It is and it wasn't. It was like a Mario RPG in a way where you had to find these the 6 golden coins to beat the game. If you didn't get it, then it didn't matter. You could beat the level. If you didn't find the coin, you were screwed. It includes battery backup. Temper Tantrum Tyrant seizes Mario Land, and this is, I think, Wario gets introduced. Yep. So, in his greatest Game Boy adventure, Mario faces off against his evil rival Wario, who has captured Mario Land and turned it into his private playground. To toss Wario off his ill-gotten throne, Mario must search all new worlds for the 6 golden coins and unlock the gate to Mario's castle. A mob of monsters, old and new, seek to stop him. Along the way through 6 zones, Mario can nab power mushrooms, superstars, and fire flowers for extra power. And if he eats a magic carrot, he'll turn into a high-flying hare. The battery pack saves your game in progress in this biggest Game Boy Mario adventure yet. I remember playing this and I got stuck on an underwater level, and I borrowed this game from actually a friend. I never owned it. Either that or I traded for it. I forget which. I think his name was Larry Schwimmer in middle school, and I traded, either bought it from him or traded other games for it. I forget what I did, but I ended up with it. And I remember getting stuck on the underwater level and kept dying, and I was like, this sucks, and I couldn't beat it, So maybe 20 years later, or 25 years later, or not 25 years later, but 20 years later, it would maybe 5 when that came out, which wasn't the case. I'm going to try to play it and see if I can beat it this time. So that's Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. And the next one is Super Mario Land 3. Now, this I never had. But, again, one of the rare games that we've talked about that I either never had as a kid or never had it, or never played as a kid, or never had it at all. This I think I played, but I never had it. My friend Yossi had this. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. And this is basically you playing as Wario. Hey, things are really cooking on Kitchen Island. Wario's got a scheme to steal the pirate's treasure so he can have his very own castle. You help Wario get the treasure by smashing into the magic pots. Each pot changes him into Dragon Wario, Bull Wario, or Jet Wario. With each change comes new powers. Dozens of enemies to try to stop Wario, but you have the power to beat them. You can be the bad guy, explore the many exciting levels of Kitchen Island, and battery back memory saves your progress for many hours of fun. And then it shows you the graphics. So that's Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land. And the next game is part of the package that I had when I got the Fanny Pack and F1 Race. It's Super RC Pro-Am. Not a bad racer from Nintendo. Radio control racing action for up to 4 players. And we'll look at the back of this. It's tire squeal and radio control action. Grab your Game Boy and pull up to the starting line. It's your car against up to 3 other speedsters in this thrilling racing competition. Face hazardous hairpin turns, skidding oil slicks, and other dangerous obstacles. Race your way through dozens of treacherous track levels that will put your driving ability to the ultimate test. Along the track, pick up faster motors, roll cages, better tires, and stronger batteries. With that, will help you win with your race to finish first. When the going gets tough, use bombs or missiles against your competition to give you an advantage. Collect the letters that spell Nintendo, and you'll be rewarded an even more powerful car. Play against the Game Boy or challenge up to 3 other friends with the Game Boy 4-player adapter. It's fast-paced, handheld driving excitement like never before. Pretty cool racer from Nintendo. I liked it. Not as much as F1 Racer, but I really did like it. Next game is from Tecmo. It's Tecmo Bowl. Not a fan of the fact that you'll see on the back it's screwed up. The box got ripped but it is what it is. It's here. It's great. It's the award-winning Tecmo Bowl. This is actually one of my favorite football games of all time, by the way. Based on the famous arcade and NES games, now you can take the super action of Tecmo Bowl with you anywhere. Whether you're playing against the system or a friend with a Game Link cable, Tecmo Bowl gives you the same award-winning football action of the NES version. Compatibility is the key. Start a game series on either this Game Boy cartridge or the NES Tecmo Bowl. When the game gives you a password, use that password on either the Game Boy or the NES Tecmo Bowl to continue your series. That's actually pretty cool. Reminds me of like the show right now, like for PS, PlayStation 3 or 4, and Vita, you can, save your files. Well, this is pretty cool that the password works just like the NES version. Tecmo Bowl features 1 to 2 players, 12 pro teams, run plays and pass plays, coach mode, you call the plays, password continuation, real team players, 11-week season, and cinema screens. The one thing I didn't like is that there was only an 11-week season, but the one thing I also liked, and there's no New England. So I don't know who I played as, but I obviously did not play as New York. I forget who I played in this, but the long and short of it, great game, great football game. Next game is from our friends at Ultra, or Konami, TMNT, Fall of the Foot Clan, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great game. I loved it. Who'll stop Shredder from ringing America's favorite turtlenecks? In cahoots with exiled alien Zapmaster Krang, the evil Shredder has once again kidnapped the dashing damsel of the news desk, April O'Neil. To rescue this ravishing reporter, you must return to the sewers and dredge forth those reptiles with a penchant for pizza and all the nifty knife work of a chop suey chef. You control every move of Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael as they arm themselves with head-rattling blades, nunchucks, backstabbing sai swords, and liver-lashing katana blades. Of course, this once-in-a-light-year adventure will really start rumbling the nanosecond you bust into 5 never-before-seen levels of Manhattan Mayhem, including the Traffic Jam, Waste Dump Ravine, and Technodrome Tower. Here you'll perfect the ancient art of icing, dicing, and shuriken slicing, and you'll get the chance to wipe the smirks off the faces of all new Creepshow freaks like Roadkill Rodney, Shell Shocker, and that nasty villain Filet-O Filth. So get back into your shell and start snapping away, before April goes from delivering the news to singing the blues in some new cement shoes. So there you go. I liked this game a lot. I really did. I thought it was a really good action game from Ultra and from Konami. This is tennis. This is sealed. Mario is the ref. Pace the baseline or charge the net. It's pro tennis action for 1 or 2 players. Part of the sports series that Nintendo did with Mario, part of it. But tennis, anyone? Game Boy Tennis for realistic match play action. You can try power serve, skillfully place shots, lofty lobs, and killer cross courts. Umpire Mario will call the close ones. So get ready to serve and match the baseline. It's tennis for everyone. Challenge the Game Boy or use your Game Link cable to take on a friend in head-to-head competition. So again, this is tennis. Pretty easy game. I liked it a lot. This needs no introduction. I bought this, grabbed it. Very rare to find in box. It's very expensive, but it's Tetris. Obviously it came with the system, so why would you need the box? Well, I'm a collector. That's what I do. The Relentless Building Block Video Puzzle. So this is what the Tetris game looked like with the box. The Soviet game sensation. Beams, boxes, zigzags, and L-shaped blocks drop down a narrow passage. Feel your pulse quicken as you spin, shift, and align the shapes for a perfect fit. It's challenging and demands split-second decision. Start at new heights for a tougher contest. Pick the music and set your pace from 20 progressive skill levels. Great game. One of the best games, obviously, of all time. Most influential games of all time. Next game is from LJN. Not a bad game either. Terminator II, the arcade game, the #1 arcade smash. Okay, and look at the back here. Fire at will. It's the all-explosive action. It's all the explosive action of the arcade smash. You are a T-800 Terminator sent from the future to prevent Judgment Day. Blast exoskeletons, blow hunter killers from the sky, and face off against the T-1000, the liquid metal Terminator, intent on your destruction. An arsenal of machine guns, rocket launchers, on-screen pickups, and real arcade shooting perspective make T2 the arcade game excellent. So the in-game graphics, cyber-dying systems destroy everything. Infiltrator T-800s have invaded the human hideout. Blast exoskeletons and HKs on the battlefield. Shatter the T-1000 at the liquid nitrogen tank. Not a bad game from LJN. Next game is one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life. And I've seen people online try to play this on YouTube. They can't even figure it out. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was horrible as a kid. But it's from Konami. It's Tiny Toon Adventures Wacky Sports. And there are mini games with the Tiny Toon characters. But they're hard as hell, man. You can play a boring old normal sports video game or go to totally wacky with your favorite sports superstars in 6 all-star events. It's not just one game, but 6 zany sports challenges. Suit up as Buster Bunny or Babs Bunny and compete in baseball, football, soccer, basketball, tennis, and golf. featuring 2 all-new game modes, the Acme Sports Festival and the Wacky Land Carnival. At the Sports Festival, you've got to qualify before going for the world record, or visit the Wacky Land Carnival and compete in 2 bonus events, the Water Squirting Challenge and the Water Panic Game. 3 difficulty levels, beginner, amateur, and superclass, keep the action fast, furious, and fun. The better you are, the tougher the games get. 2-player action lets you prove once and for all that your friends can't compete with your cartoon prowess. And some of the graphics. But even on the easy mode, this game was impossible. I remember playing the soccer game, and basically what you had to do is you had to shoot the ball past, I think it was the Tasmanian Devil. It was fucking impossible. You couldn't, every time you kicked the ball, you either saved it or it fucking went wide. It was one of the hardest fucking games still to this day that I've ever played. Here we're finally at the game that changed my RPG. I hated RPGs as a kid because of this game, would refuse to play them, never got into them, and then Kingdom Hearts came out, and I obviously got into that because it's Disney characters come to life. I mean, how could you not play it? But this game, it's called Ultima Ruins of Virtue. This is the game that made me swear off RPGs for life. It's from FCI. And I remember buying this game at Woolworths in the Walpole Mall, and it was on sale for $20, so my mom grabbed it for me, and I couldn't wait to play it. And I read the back of the box, and I couldn't wait to play it. And basically, you had to go around, and you had to find the 6 ruins. Or 7 ruins, I forget. I think it's 6 or 7. And whatever it was, and I found 6 of them. I couldn't find the 7th. I had no health. I had no money to buy health. I had no weapons left. I had no ammo left. I called Nintendo Power as a kid. I rang up like a $40 phone bill. My mom almost killed me. I didn't realize it was that expensive. And basically what the people told me on the phone in Nintendo was, when he called Nintendo Power, you had to go find this flute. Once you found the flute, you had to go to this edge of the world and play the flute, and then an underwater cavern would appear, and then you could find the last ruin. And I said, fuck this. I had no head. I was not restarting the entire fucking game. I was like 13 years old. I'm like, fuck this, dude. I'm not doing this. This is stupid. So from that point forward, I said, I'm never playing an RPG. If this is how RPGs are going to go, I'm never going to play it again. And sure, I've missed some classics over the years, like Final Fantasy VII and all that stuff. But Kingdom Hearts is the only RPG to this day that I've ever played aside from this one. And here's what it says. The world of Ultimate Games comes to Game Boy. Guide one of 4 characters on a quest to find the hidden ruins of virtue. The mage casts spells, the bard is a longbow expert, the knight is a master swordsman, and the ranger throws his magic axe. Explore the 8 concealed dungeons for treasure. Discover magic swords, potions, and teleporters. Battle bats, dragons, ghosts, serpents, and skeletons. Even the villainous Black Knight. Challenge this brand new game made exclusively for Game Boy by FCI. Powerful 1 meg chip with battery backup saves play positions. 2 players can compete or cooperate for up to 80 levels. Exciting 1-player action in over 170 levels. An entirely new game from the creators of the original Ultima, a Lord British game. Great game. Madness aside, great fucking game. I loved it as a kid playing it until I couldn't find the ruin and basically had no health and died every time I tried to go back in the dungeon to find that flute. So now I have a Game Genie. Now I have a Game Genie. Now when I have time, I will be playing this and finally beating it and loving life. So this is a game, folks, that I've talked about earlier that made me get back into collecting. And it started with this. And then it went bonkers, and now I've collected everything that I've ever owned. So, Ultima Ruins of Virtue. The second game I had, I never played because I never thought the first one would do what it did to me, but it's Ultima Ruins of Virtue 2. This, by the way, these are very, very hard to find complete in box. The first one isn't as hard as the second. The second took me forever. And now they're coming out of the woodworks. I would say you could easily pick one of these up for $200. Most is what I would pay for one of these complete in box. But this is Ultima Ruins of Virtue 2, mint condition. And on the back, the ultimate game for Game Boy returns. Following the success of the original Ruins of Virtue comes this exciting new game. Britannia needs your help again. Lord British has summoned you back to Britannia, where the Black Knight has abducted Britain's mayor, Lord Tholden. This time you have an enchanted Anka to aid you in your heroic quest. Choose a familiar character from the Ultima storyline. Shimino wields his axe. Iolo the Bard fires his longbow, Mariah the Mage employs her magical wand of fireballs, and the armored knight Dupree carries a sword. Search out magical weapons, talk to the townspeople for clues, but watch your back. You'll need every advantage you can get in this titanic struggle. Fight rats, bats, trolls, goblins, and powerful wizards in your efforts to foil the Black Knight's sinister plans. Britannia needs you now more than ever. Don't fail Lord British and his people. Hours of exciting one-player action and over 150 levels. Connect 2 Game Boy units with Game Link for a 2-player game. Begin a new game or finish a previous game where you left off with a unique autosave feature. And choose from 3 levels of difficulty to customize the game for players of all ages. So, graphics, as you see there. But that's the second version, or the sequel, I should say, to the Ultimate game. Next is another game. My sister had this. I never really played it, but it's the player's choice version. I'm not happy about the Million Sellers Wave Race from Nintendo. The sequel, obviously, as you all know, came out on the N64. The water's cold, but the action's hot. Jump aboard your personal watercraft and hit the waves. Pick one of 3 versatile PWCs, the nimble 550cc, the speedy 650cc, or the high-powered 800cc National Class Racer. Splash your way through 8 tracks in the racing circuit or compete in 8 different breakneck slalom courses. Watch the spray fly as you leave your opponent swamped in your wake. Save your quickest lap and course times. Race to stop your fastest speed or challenge up to 3 of your friends with the 4-player adapter and pour on the power. That's Wave Race for the Game Boy. The next game is in complete in box, obviously, Wheel of Fortune from Game Tech. Not a bad game version of Wheel of Fortune. It was pretty fun. Over 1,000 new puzzles. Spin and win with the #1 hit TV game show. Now you can play America's favorite game anytime, anywhere. You're the contestant, compete against a friend, match switch with the computer, or spin alone for fun. The game plays just like the real thing. Spin the wheel and win a fortune, or hit bankrupt and lose it all. If you're stuck, you can always buy a vowel. Pretty self-explanatory. And the final game in this I never had, but I bought just to buy. It's Wordtris. It's Tetris made letter perfect. Basically, Tetris, and you got to spell words, from Spectrum Holobyte. And on the back, those Soviet blocks are falling again. Letter by letter, words fall together at your command. Horizontally, vertically, they clear. You score, the pace quickens, so does your mind. You will wait letters for that magic word. A wild card block appears. You flip through the alphabet, drop that critical letter into place, the slate clears, and you're hooked to the letter. Play head-to-head, race the clock, go for top score, play tournament style, and blast away those stumbling blocks like Q's and Z's with acid bombs and dynamite. So, pretty much Tetris with letters spelling words. So that's Wordtris. The last game, even though I said this was the last game, this is something I picked up in that bundle where I got Bases Loaded from, I think. It's Konami NFL Football. I remember my friend having this. Jimmy had this as a kid. I never played it, but he had it. And getting your helmet split by a blindsided hit has never been so much fun. It's an officially licensed product. NFL Football puts the pressure on your shoulder pads to carry both the pro-style offense and defense. When driving for the end zone, you'll call every shot, firing bullets and bombs to your favorite receivers, or run bootlegs blasting upfield before snarling thick-neck blockers. Behind snarling thick-neck blockers. Then on defense, choose every attack formation and position yourself as a tenacious headbanger, going for the pigskin by blitzing or picking off lame ducks. First downs, 4 quarters, kickoffs, punts, field goals, extra points, stats, everything's here but the bruises. You can even star in your favorite NFL franchise, since all 28 teams are here, ready to replay their rowdy rivalries. So pull down your face mask, tape your fingers, and grind it out on this Game Boy Game Breaker. You can play against the computer or run the video link option and tackle a friend. I've seen the graphics on this on YouTube. It looks terrible. Like, awful. Like, I would not even want to play it, nor would I figure... There are even Nintendo's play-action footballs better looking than this. So, anyway, I picked this up for like $3 in its box. I said, what the hell? So, anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. This has been the 4-part epic Game Boy collection of mine. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching all 4 videos, sitting through my rambling, monotonous voice. Again, like, comment, subscribe, dislike, I don't care. It just means that you guys are watching, and I'm happy that you're watching stuff that I create. If you have any suggestions, please put them down in the box, comments, whatever you want me to do next. Remember, I will be doing a whole bunch of videos on all my collections, whether it be the Genesis, Saturn, PS1, Dreamcast, Xbox, PS2, PS3, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, PSP. We got everything. Mortal Kombat, God of War, we got everything going on here. LCD games, I'll do gameplays and all that sort of thing. So again, thanks for watching. It's been great. It's been fun. We'll see you next time.